Very good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and thanks for joining us on a Monday on The Early Edge. We are brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a couple of good days last week, and we had a couple of really bad days as well. Unfortunately, we got to take a look at the recap screen because this is a bad day. No excuses here. 3-10 is absolutely unacceptable. Really nobody great across the board here. Mikey B goes 1 for 2, and unfortunately, that's the best thing we have to say here because everybody else kind of swung and missed. I missed my Rams -10 play. That just was a bad read by me. 3-10 is not going to get it done. Ladies and gentlemen, the good news is right here on a Monday, we still have all of you in the chat, smashing the like button, giving us some positive cheer here. But on Mondays, we kind of have the dream team. So let's have a bounce back Monday with none other than PropStarz. Mike McClure, Mikey B, me as well. And of course, Larry Hartstein. Gentlemen, Larry, I'll start with you. You saw the recap screen. We certainly have to bounce back, but let's just put that aside. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving holiday. But Larry, I got to ask you this: your reaction to NFL Sunday?
I think what we saw is there's no dominant team that's just going to blow through on their way to the Super Bowl. The Rams showed that they're vulnerable if Matthew Stafford makes a mistake and balls get tipped, and they really couldn't stop the Carolina Panthers in key situations in that second half. So it wasn't a totally fluky loss for the Rams. I just think that the AFC is wide open, and now maybe the NFC is pretty wide open too. I mean, Seattle didn't really play well in terms of offensive performance. The yards per play were pretty pathetic. They benefited from facing an overmatched rookie quarterback. So this is one of the most exciting NFL home stretches that we've had in years, with the Bears Packers coming up this week, a lot of great matchups. And I also want to give a shout out to my home state, Missouri, becoming the 39th state to legalize sports betting in the past 7 years since the Supreme Court changed that decision. That's pretty phenomenal. Having grown up there, I didn't think I would see this day.
Yeah, Mike, I know you've been active in the chat noting that Missouri, you can now bet, I don't know, across the board. I know BetMGM has had some promos last week with respect to signing up with them and betting in Missouri. But Missouri, talk to me, Mike. You seem pretty excited about this as well.
Yeah, big deal for Missouri. I'm close here in between Kansas, Missouri on the border. So very, very nice to have Missouri back. I also spent a little time in St. Louis. So that was always a tough situation where Illinois has it, Kansas has it, Missouri doesn't. I think it'll be big for Missouri. I think it'll certainly hurt the Kansas betting handle if you're anyone that tracks any of that. I think it'll definitely hurt Kansas' overall betting handle, but happy for the 6 million plus people in the state of Missouri that now have legal access.
Certainly a lot of people. PropStarz, I know you had more to talk about in the NFL. I just want to say there's a lot of people talking about the Bears in the chat, and rightfully so. I mean, I feel like I'm in the most I don't know ball mode of all time with Jacksonville leading the AFC South, which frankly isn't really saying much considering how that division's going. But then the Bears being in first place in the NFC here, again, Sia doesn't know ball because I would never have seen. And again, Caleb Williams is getting a lot of credit. He should get a lot of credit, but certainly a team thing, not necessarily a Caleb Williams thing. Either way, credit to the Bears. Proppy, what did you have to say? What did you have to add?
I literally wanted to touch on the Bears, Sia. So transition there. This Chicago team, first place, obviously, in the NFC. Week 13, I think even the most bullish expectations on the Bears coming into the season. I know Larry and I were backing the Bears this season. Did not anticipate this level of success. I'm very happy for Chicago and their fans to have winning football. However, I would offer, I think this team is a paper tiger. Caleb Williams is not playing good football. He's had some good moments, but if we look at the season as a totality, the numbers aren't very impressive. When he's faced an adept pass rush, he's really struggled. He's been very much inconsistent, but the team's playing well. You beat who you have in front of you. I do not think they are a viable contender, however.
Wow, here I was, trying to do the chat some favors and fish for compliments for the Bears, and PropStarz saying, hey, hold the phone a little bit. I mean, I kind of agree with you, Proppy. All right, we got to get to some picks. Mikey B, I trust you've got some NBA for us today, right?
Yeah, we're hitting the boards. I got 2 rebounding player props today, so we're going to be doing some rebounding work.
All right, we're going to be doing some rebounding work. Let's start with the NFL. We want your questions in the chat, whether they're NBA or NFL related. No, by the way, we've got an NHL pick as far as the SportsLine picks are concerned as well. But Mike McClure, talk to me about the Giants' first half team total.
Yes, saw in the chat, expecting a team total, maybe not the team you were expecting, though. We are not on the Patriots in the first half. It is the Giants side going over 9.5, minus 112. This is up to minus 125 in a few spots. I would expect it to be minus 135 if being offered 9.5, or I would expect it to move to 10 or 10.5 around plus 110. I like this spot to go over, though. I like having Jackson Dart back in there. We know that he's going to play hard at all times. I think this team is sneaky, though, and I think that the Patriots, not quite to the level of the Chicago Bears, like PropStarz was saying, I think they're a little vulnerable as well. I think they're going to find themselves in a lot of competitive games in these particular spots. I know that they've had a great season by their standards so far, rattling off a ton of wins in a row. I think they're a little vulnerable defensively, though. I know that some of us miss Jameis. I would miss Jameis a little bit, too, if this were like a DFS slate. But I like this particular spot for Jackson Dart. I think that he's going to use his legs a little bit in this game. And again, just the touchdown and the field goal, just so much different than requiring 3 scoring possessions. We need 2 scoring possessions here, one of them being a field goal, one being a touchdown. I think they have the opportunity. Again, I think this Patriots team is closer to league average, particularly defensively. So give me the Giants here. First half over 9.5, minus 112.
You know, Mike, I was going to wait to give out my pick, and probably I'll go to you in a second. But I do feel like the way you address Jackson Dart in terms of just kind of being a net positive for the New York Giants, and perhaps the way I read what you said about Jackson Dart specifically and the team total over is that we're going to see Jackson Dart extend some drives, maybe with his legs, but just with Jackson Dart being a solid quarterback in the first place. I think that extension of drives is going to help Tyrone Tracy out. I was considering Tyrone Tracy's over 47.5 rush yards, and honestly, it was a coin flip between the two. I certainly could have just put both of them in. I decided to go with the rush attempts instead. I'm going Tyrone Tracy over 12.5 rush attempts at minus 122. A couple of things working in his favor. First of all, I'll let you know that Devin Singletary is certainly getting carries as well. But Tyrone Tracy does appear to be the lead back here, and he's exceeded this rush attempt total by actually quite a bit. I think 14, 19, and 20 carries, going off memory here, over his last 3 games. So he's gone over this total quite a bit. And what's interesting about that is over the last few games, he's actually faced a couple of tough rush defenses. It's not like he's going up against terrible rush defenses and they're just giving him the ball. 2 of those rush defenses were the Packers and the Lions. So at the end of the day, they're just feeding Tyrone Tracy. He hasn't been the model of efficiency, but he was okay in a couple of those last 3 games. Either way, 12.5 rush attempts, I don't think is super tough to climb. Patriots rush defense, very good. Milton Williams on IR, so that's kind of a big deal. I think the Giants are going to lean on the run a little bit more than people expect. Yes, Devin Singletary will get his rush attempts, but I think we see Tyrone Tracy getting that 14 to 16 range. As long as this game is within 2 scores, as long as it's not a complete blowout, they'll lean on Tracy a little bit. So give me Tracy over 12.5 rush attempts at minus 122. PropStarz, I know you had something to add to what Mike had to say. Maybe me as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight the Patriots defense. I do think they are vulnerable. Got off to an exceptional start. A lot of the efficiency metrics were just phenomenal, but I would say the biggest difference has been Milton Williams, who has just been an incredible acquisition. The defensive splits with and without Milton Williams, who's currently on IR, are drastic. He's had a huge impact in the middle of that Patriots defense. He's been a true game wrecker. So I do think this does help the Giants offense significantly. Patriots defense not nearly as formidable without Milton Williams.
Yeah, and with that said, we have more Giants picks coming on this show. Certainly we're, I don't want to say all in, but we got a lot of Giants picks on the early edge this morning. Larry, go ahead.
Well, and the guy who replaced Milton Williams, Tonga, he is questionable, and he went out last week, and that made a big difference because not only does he play defensive tackle, he's also the short yardage blocker, and the Patriots had about 10 tries inside the 5-yard line and couldn't score against the Bengals. One of the reasons was Tonga was out, so you got to check his status tonight. He's an underrated player.
Mikey B, we're going to get to your pick in a few minutes, but do you have a take on this game against the spread, or are you leaning one way or the other? Do you like a prop?
So I'm a Giants fan. Okay.
Oh.
So I watch all these god awful games. So what you have to do with the Giants is if they have a lead, then you just bet the money line on the other team because they always blow these games. Paulson Adebo's back. That's great. They've got Javon Holland back. So the secondary is pretty much in good shape. No Kayvon Thibodeau. That's obviously a big loss there. The Patriots missing the left side of their offensive line is big, but the Giants cannot hold leads. So if you want to take the Giants to +7.5, that's fine because that's big enough. But if you like to live bet, wait till the Giants get the lead and then bet Patriots money line because the Giants cannot hold the lead for the life of them.
I put in the chat. I mean, that's a very true statement. I put in the chat, PropStarz. We're going to get to your NBA pick in just a second. I put in the chat because of the Missouri thing. I was curious if there was anybody from Missouri that was watching this show live right now. And I asked people to put in the chat the city and state you're watching the show from. A lot of I'll give some shout outs later in the show, but we've got a lot of answers there. If you're listening to the podcast after the fact, go into the YouTube comments. Let us know where you're watching this show from or where you listen to the podcast from. Go to SportsLine on YouTube and just type in the chat the city and state you consume this show from. Very curious to see what the cross section is. All right. Speaking of cross section, we go from NFL to NBA. PropStarz. I mean, earmuffs, Mikey B. We're taking an under on Kobe White. Proppy, go ahead.
We are indeed, Sia. Yes, and shout out to the great state of Missouri. We're going to the hardwood here. Going to fade Kobe White of the Bulls here. Very big number. Both his points and assists and PRA. I like both these lines quite a bit. If you don't have access to the 26.5 points and assists, very comfortable pivoting to the PRA at 29.5. I believe there are some 30.5s floating out there, but comfortable at both of these numbers, 26.5 points and assists, 29.5 PRA for Kobe White, who, to his credit, has played well since returning to the Bulls lineup. This Bulls team has been very exciting, fun to watch, playing an up-tempo brand of basketball. But Kobe White, in my opinion, is playing above his head right now, averaging 24 points per game. He's averaging over 6 assists. These are both career highs for him. I think these numbers are due to progress even in this up-tempo Bulls offense. And you couple that with the fact that he's playing the Orlando Magic. And the Magic, while getting off to a really sluggish start, they are playing excellent basketball recently, having won 8 of 10 games, but the defense has been very impressive, and they are routing teams as well. So I think there's some blowout potential here. The Magic also have a very good backcourt as well defensively. So a difficult matchup, some blowout potential, just a lot of ways that Kobe White can stay under. He can still have a very good game and stay under numbers these high. So I think this is a great spot to fade him.
Mikey B, I want to get your take on PropStarz pick here. But before I do that, I want to go to the other Mike. Because Mike McClure, you mentioned in the chat here that there's a bit of a rest advantage in favor of the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, definitely. It's important all the time in the NBA, but certainly around holidays and things like this. Bulls, this is their 3rd game in 4 days. Orlando on 2 days, full 2 days of rest. Pretty significant at this portion of the schedule in the NBA.
Yeah, and Mikey B, it was Orlando who went on the road and beat Detroit. That was you had 2 picks on Friday, one you won and one you lost. And I was surprised at the one you lost because Orlando handled it on the road. Talk to me about this Kobe White pick real quick. You have an opinion one way or the other?
I am a Bulls fan. I do like the under simply because, like Alex said, the Magic's defense is so good. You could see a lot of Jalen Suggs on Kobe White and Desmond Bane on Josh Giddey just because Bane's got a little bit more size to him than Suggs does. I think the Bulls, the fun vibes from the 6-1 start are all gone. They're losing games to the Pelicans, the Jazz, the Hornets, where they're back to being the stinky Bulls. So, yeah, I like this pick from Alex.
Okay, so I'm following NBA, but you all know I don't give out NBA picks, so I'm not like Mikey B or Proppy or Mike McClure on this. I didn't realize that the Bulls have lost to those 3 teams.
They stink. Sia,
horrifying.
They stink again. We're back to stinking again. We had like 10 days where Ben and I were high-fiving. We were so excited. We're writing all of our relatives. This is the best Bulls team ever. And now Ben and I were just crying every day, losing to these tanking teams. It's pathetic.
That's pretty bad. Well, let's change the vibes a little bit and talk about first touchdown scores. As it relates to BetMGM, get your stake back in cash if your first touchdown scores second instead. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. We'll have first touchdown scores later in the show. Some of them I think you're really going to like if you like that sort of thing. SportsLine picks. We got a couple of them, including a plus 140 NHL pick. That one's from Bruce Marshall. Marshall. He likes the San Jose Sharks money line plus 140. And then we go to Danny Brasco. A nice matchup for Theo Johnson against the Patriots tonight. Theo Johnson over 30.5 receiving yards minus 115. Again, the two SportsLine picks, the Sharks money line plus 140 and Theo Johnson over 30.5 receiving yards minus 115. We got a lot more to get to, including a pick against the spread that Larry's got on this game. Mikey B, we still have your 2 NBA picks to get to. We've got a lot of chat questions that I'm going to get to right after this message from our partners.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
We are back on the early edge, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. HChies22. And I don't know, again, the handles are different on YouTube right now. So maybe you have a different handle that would be, I don't know, more catchy. But HChies22, it's your birthday. He says, today is my birthday. A shout out would be amazing. HChies22, happy birthday. And if your handle is different now, showing different now, but you have like an actual name, I can give you an actual shout out. Go ahead and put that in the chat. But very happy birthday to anybody who has a birthday today. By the way, Stephon Diggs' birthday was 2 days ago. If you want to factor that into your analysis, maybe first touchdown score over receiving yards. Tracy over 2.5 receptions. Proppy, I'm going to go to you here. You don't really like receiving yards props when it comes to running backs. It is a nice matchup considering New England likes to give up, catches to running backs. Nonetheless, do you like this pick, Proppy?
I'd be a lot more comfortable if Jameis Winston was under center. Jackson Dart typically is going to lock on to his first read. If that's not available, he's prone to take off and scramble. So he is not targeting his running backs. Running backs, if they're going to catch passes, unless they're guys like Christian McCaffrey, are typically going to be checked down to, and the quarterback has to read through his progressions in order to find the running back. Jackson Dart, and this is common with a lot of rookie quarterbacks, typically just look at their first read, and if he's covered, are adept to then scramble or take off. So if we look at Jackson Dart's splits, running backs aren't getting heavily targeted. So this would not be a game environment, despite the Patriots. They have given up a lot of receptions to opposing running backs, and we do expect some negative game script here. I just would feel more comfortable if there was a different quarterback under center.
Joe Neuenfeld playing the looks like game. I'm not going to read it out loud. It's not like it's offensive or anything. I'm not going to read it out loud.
Read it, Sia.
Okay. If you don't mind, then I'll read it. Joe Neuenfeld says, Mikey B looks like the neighbor you can't believe was a serial killer. Mikey B, your response.
No, the only cereal I'm killing is a box of Cheerios. Come on, Joe.
I am currently, you all remember the candy bracket. It's funny you say that. I'm currently putting together the cereal bracket, courtesy of Jake Seeley. He gave me his previous article. I'm putting a bracket together. Very much looking forward to it. So while we're putting stuff in the chat, put your favorite cereal in the chat. Maybe I'll switch up the rankings if I get some love from any particular cereals. I'll tell you, Jake Seeley's a big Captain Crunch and Cinnamon Toast Crunch fan. He's got all the variations. It's kind of annoying. Larry, go ahead.
I'm in a fantasy league with a guy who wrote a book on all the cereals in the world. His name is Marty Gitlin. He used to work at CBS a while ago. Look it up. He has a book, like the comprehensive book of cereals that he's constantly promoting. So I'm doing his job for him. But I just want to say that Mikey B, he's the quintessential family man, the great dad. And Joe doesn't need to be taking shots like that.
Well, so that would be the classic person that you wouldn't believe is a serial killer. So yeah. Joe's kind of on point here. Okay, Mikey B, you have a chance to redeem yourself from all this serial killer stuff. Give me 2 NBA picks if you would.
First of all, I have to say, someone was calling me boring because I eat Cheerios. They're not regular Cheerios. It's the cinnamon oats, okay? So I do like to live a little bit on the edge with the cinnamon oats. All right, so now let's hit the rebounding props. We're going to do 2 rebounding props. Evan Mobley over 9.5 rebounds at minus 137. You know I love to play rebounding props against the Pacers. They do not have very good centers. They've allowed the 4th most rebounds per game in the league. Jared Allen out for this game. So we should see Mobley at the 5 more. We did play this last time. Allen was also out the last time the Cavaliers faced the Pacers, and Mobley finished with 12 rebounds. So I think he sails here and gets at least 10 rebounds. Now, this has moved to 10.5 in some spots. So if you don't want to play the over 10.5, which I don't mind, you can also get him to record a double-double at around the same price. So then we're going to head to the Clippers and Heat. We're going to do Ivica Zubac over 11.5 rebounds at minus 125. He has at least 12 rebounds in 5 of his last 8 games, averaging 11.5 for the season. Last year, he averaged 12.6, so he's down a little bit, but great matchup against the Heat. They play at the fastest pace. They've allowed the second most rebounds per game in the league. When he faced them earlier this season, he had 18 rebounds over 33 minutes. I know this is a big number, but I still like Zubac over 11.5 rebounds.
All right, a couple of rebound props on Zubac and Evan Mobley. If you have questions relating to the NBA or this NFL game tonight, please put them in the chat so we can answer your questions. Also trying to see where some of these cities and states are from before we get to your pick, Larry, against the spread. Sox Nation says Southside, Irish, Chicago, small town in Kansas, Jay Knowles says. So maybe neighbors with Mike McClure. I know we had more Chicago in here as well. I'm checking this out. While I do that, Larry, you like the Giants plus 7.5. I will tell you that Jen, our Jen from SportsLine and the SportsLine Discord, super sharp. She says, hey, everybody beware. A lot of people like the Giants plus 7.5. So I give you that. You are one of those people.
I am. I mean, the Giants have been in most of their games. They've blown 5 fourth-quarter leads, as Mike Barner referred to. But under new coach or interim coach Mike Kafka, this team is playing hard for him. They want him to get the job, a lot of guys. And they've lost, one-score games to the Packers and to the Lions. I'm going to put the Patriots in that category, as a very good team, but not this unbeatable team. And especially with the injuries that the Patriots suffered along the offensive line, losing the entire left side of their offensive line, that is a big loss against a Giants team. The one thing they can do with Brian Burns is get some pressure and sack the quarterback. And now they have a new defensive coordinator, which might be an upgrade. Shane Bowen was kind of a laughingstock. Something had to happen. So they went with this Vance Joseph disciple. Let's see what he can do. And let's see if the Patriots know how to prepare for a guy that they have absolutely no record on. This guy's never called defensive plays at any level. But I also like Jackson Dart coming back. I think he's still going to be Jackson Dart. I don't think you can just take that out of him and say, don't run the ball at all. That's one of his biggest strengths. So the Giants, this is what they do. They play close games. They lose at the end. Let's have another tight game from the New York Giants.
All right, Giants plus 7.5. Mike, I want to get your thoughts if you have any thoughts on the total or the spread here. I do want to give some shout outs. Rural Kansas is in the house. We've got Topeka, Kansas in the house from Rick's. We got Dulles, Virginia. That's near me. California, Big Cheesy and Liddy from there. Westminster, Colorado, Indy, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Concord, New Hampshire, Vancouver, BC. A lot of Canadians watching this show. Waxhaw, North Carolina. Mike McClure, the plus 7.5, the total. Any thoughts here?
I lean to the Giants. I make the number all the way down to 6. I will admit that I don't blindly just follow what the computer puts out, but the computer does make the game 6 in this particular spot. The slightest of underleans right at 46.2. Not something I would consider playing. We know how key 47 can be. So if I had to play anything here, it would be that Giants number at 7.5. I would consider, like Mikey B, I would consider betting this live either direction, actually. I would consider taking the Giants live if they fall behind early as well. I think that they're going to fight for the entirety of the game. And if you're starting to catch 10.5s, 11s, things like that, that's where I'd be interested on the Giants side even more. But yeah, pregame, if I had to play it, it would be the Giants side at 7.5.
Hopefully the Commanders inspired the Giants, because the Commanders completely out of it and played spirited ball. And you could make an argument that perhaps they should have won that game and replay assist and the officials. I mean, listen, I'm not going to go down that road. Denver's the better team, but boy, did the officials get a couple wrong in that one. Proppy, Big Cheesy from Cali. He says DeMario Douglas over 13.5 receiving yards. The problem I have with that, and Big Cheesy's super sharp, so he might know something that I don't, is that this entire receiver core is healthy. We're not going to see DeMario on the field that much. Do you have anything to say about any of these receivers in this game? Because obviously Stephon Diggs is going to lead the way, but his snap share and his route share has been kind of toggling back and forth as well. Mac Hollins has stepped it up. Kayshon Boutte is healthy now. I think Kyle Williams is healthy. He's going to be playing a little bit. You got DeMario Douglas, Hunter Henry. I don't know what to do with this receiving group.
Yeah, lots of mouths to feed, and even Stephon Diggs in some smash spots. And if you've been following me, we liked him against the Bengals. Just hasn't delivered. He's been boon or bust himself. So it's hard to trust really any of the New England pass catchers. Probably Hunter Henry has the safest floor, and his floor is even quite volatile. So yeah, difficult to trust here. Also, the Giants have an absolutely just abysmal rush defense. Dead last in success rate, dead last in EPA per rush. They're historically bad run defense. So I do think we'll see New England here likely going run heavy. So unless the Giants really push New England, I expect them to run the ball effectively and quite a bit.
Larry, you might have mentioned this in your take about the +7.5. Forgive me as I was looking at some of the cities and some of the chat questions as well. But the left side of the line for the Patriots being out here, I mean, it's a big enough deal to potentially affect just the line of scrimmage in general, but also this run game, right? Like, again, I don't know what to do with the pass game with the Patriots, but I'm also not 100% sure how successful, especially with the new DC on the Giants side. I don't know what to expect from this defensive front.
Yeah, and they're not going to have Kayvon Thibodeau, but they should have the rest of the guys in there. And they get Paulson Adebo on the back end. I don't think that can be, said enough, because they haven't had the guys that they intended to play the season with at corner all year. So now he's back. He's your top corner. But yeah, the left side of the line, we saw it when they went out against Cincinnati. They had trouble getting a push. Drake May wasn't the same. Drake May has thrown a pick now in 4 of his last 5 games. Not saying he's, not having an unbelievable year, but those are the kind of things that can cause a pressure throw here or there. They should win the game, but to me, over a touchdown is too much.
Larry, let me stick with you. Gipper's Pick says anyone else like Henderson, Trevion, of course, over 14.5 rush attempts. I feel like there's a bit of a problem here with Trevion and Ramondre. And I'll say the same about Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary, although I do think this, I don't know. I guess the split's not more defined there. Do you have a take on Trevion's over, whether it's his rushing yards or rushing attempts?
Well, it was interesting that Ramondre came back and only got 6 carries, didn't do anything with them. Trevion wasn't that great from an efficiency standpoint. He really hasn't been since those big runs that he broke off against the Saints. He hasn't really had the explosions that we know he's capable of. This definitely seems to be the matchup where you think he would get going against the absolute rock bottom of the barrel, worst run defense in the NFL. I would lean over on 14.5.
So, Proppy, you might have something to add there. I saw your hand up. But Jeff Vandehay, speaking of Trevion Henderson, from Vandehay Industries, of course, says Henderson is -125 at 14.5 longest rush now. I actually like that play. Even if his rushing attempts are limited, I do think he could break one for sure. I'm not saying for sure like it's an official play for me, but Proppy, any takes on this New England running game?
I gave these a long look, obviously wanting to take a piece of any running back against this Giants defense, but really thought these numbers were very high. And if we look at Trevion Henderson's production, it's been extremely spotty, and really he's just benefited from a couple of big runs. Without those big runs, the numbers are not very good at all. And again, he hasn't had many big runs recently either. So definitely benefiting from playing in an offense, getting the majority of the touches. But it would not shock me whatsoever if Ramondre Stevenson, while he hasn't been very effective, he's been pretty much as good as Trevion Henderson in a lot of ways. So it wouldn't shock me. This is his second game back from injury. If we see his playing time ramp up here. If I'm going to back a running back in the backfield, it's speculative, but I'm actually more comfortable taking Ramondre at 25.5 yards than I am Trevion. But if I were to take Trevion, I do think I did look at the longest rush, but I believe he's only had 3 rushes this season over 15 yards. Might only be 2 actually, but yeah, he's just been very inconsistent with the offensive line woes. And Ramondre back, hard to trust him in my opinion, and the numbers are big.
One of the props that I was looking at was, and I didn't get there, but it's certainly still a lean, was Drake May over longest completion, 35.5 yards. But again, the offensive line, I do feel like there's going to be a lot of getting the ball out quick from Drake May, but I love how he looks downfield. So that's another lean for me. Mikey B, I saw you kind of nodding your head a little bit. Was there something that you agreed with that we were just talking about?
I like that call for Henderson over 14.5 longest rush. Cordell Flott is a very small cornerback. So what teams have been doing against the Giants is they run outside because they don't have good tackling on the edges. The linebackers are not great outside of Okereke. They're down to a backup linebacker there next to him. So I like that. Ollie, get on the edge for one big long run. I like that over 14.
That's what Trevion does. To your point, Mikey, he gets
that.
to the edge and goes. Counselor, we're going to get to first touchdown scores in a second. Counselor, any negative correlation candidates tonight? So I haven't really studied it, but what I will say is that Kayshon Boutte and Darius Slayton, their receptions props are 2.5. So I don't mind taking a 50+ on both of those and under receptions and an anytime touchdown sprinkled in, which for both of those will be a pretty good payout. I'll look at exactly what that looks like later on today, but those would probably be my negative correlation candidates, guys that probably aren't going to get a ton of catches, but can certainly spring one for a long one, including a touchdown. I thought about Matt Collins too, but he's getting a little bit too much work to get under that receptions prop. How about we go to first touchdown scores, and then we'll answer any last minute questions. It looks like we have some NBA questions in here as well. All right, we're going to do it this way. I've got Matt Collins plus 1,500. We're going to give out our first touchdown score in order here on the chart here that Ben has put together. We're also going to give out our favorite cereal. So mine is Matt Collins. I just mentioned him. He's just been a big part of this offense. He's a big target. He's on the field a lot because he's a good blocker as well. And he's definitely a trusted target for Drake May. Give me Matt Collins' first touchdown score plus 1,500 and Honey Bunches of Oats. I know it's not super fun, but it's a great cereal. Larry Hartstein, it's your turn. Favorite first touchdown score and favorite cereal. Oh, you're on mute, Larry.
Terrible gaff right there. Theo Johnson has 5 TDs. All of them came with Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart has thrown 10 touchdowns, 5 of them to Theo Johnson in the 7 games. So I like the connection that they have there. And as we talked about, the Patriots have been quite vulnerable. 6th most targets, 8th most yards allowed, 2 tight ends. I'm going to go with what my little girl likes right now, Cinnamon Life, because, that's what we've been sharing in the morning.
All right. That's not a bad one at all. Mike McClure, speaking of Jackson Dart, you like him as a first touchdown scorer?
Yeah, give me Jackson Dart. As we talked about, he basically looks and tries to lock in on a first, maybe a second read, reluctant to dump the ball down to running backs, likes to take off and run, certainly likes to score touchdowns and likes to run in the red zone. So I like Jackson Dart here at this number. If I had a second choice, though, it would be Theo Johnson.
Okay. I think Big Cheesy, he's sort of killing the vibe here. He says, Honey Bunches of Oats is delicious, but it's actually surprisingly unhealthy. You're probably right about that, as are most cereals. But yeah, you would think with that name, it would be like relatively healthy, but no, it's just a lot of sugar, like most cereals. All right, Isaiah Hodgins says Mikey B.
Yeah, so the Patriots have given up 15 touchdowns to wide receivers this season, which is tied for the 4th most in the league. So you'd say, well, why aren't you picking Wan'Dale Robinson? Well, that's because he could see a lot of Christian Gonzalez. Hodgins did have 2 red zone targets last week, and he had a touchdown. Very familiar with this Giants offense. He was on the team a few years ago before they just got him back. So at plus 3,000, I like that. With regards to cereal, I already talked about the Cheerios with the cinnamon oats. I used to love Fruity Pebbles as a kid. Too old now. Too much sugar in the morning.
All right. Fruity Pebbles is a good answer. I was more of a Cocoa Pebbles, like Cocoa Puffs guy. Chris Doyle says, Larry on mute is worse than peppermint patties being his favorite candy. People don't forget. We also don't forget your Tootsie Roll take. PropStarz, talk to me about Trevion Henderson.
I definitely don't forget the Tootsie Roll take.
Horrible.
Surprised he didn't answer Charleston Chews or something like that. Going chalk here, Trevion Henderson. Again, this Giants rush defense has not been formidable. I do anticipate him starting, so I think there's a good chance that he will get the first touchdown. I think the odds typically for a running back who's expected to be heavily featured, typically on the team that's generally favored, are usually in the plus 450 to plus 550 range. So a slight lean to Trevion Henderson here. And my favorite cereal, going to go Frosted Flakes. I think it's delicious. I do have a distinct memory, however, of being a child and my father getting very mad at me because he thought I was taking chocolate milk and mixing it with Cocoa Puffs, when in reality, it just turned the milk, dark. But yeah, I'm going Frosted Flakes.
Larry, it looks like you have something to add.
Nothing to add. I'm just, just trying to absorb all the insults that are coming my way in the chat.
Mike,
how could we attack Larry? He stuck up for me before. It's my turn to stick up for Larry. He's given us wholesome stories about sharing cereal with his daughter, and you guys are picking on him because he likes Tootsie Rolls. It's okay, Larry. You eat what you like, and you smile about it.
This is the same man that took Matthew Golden to go over 725 receiving.
I tried, Larry. I tried.
This season, so please, chat, continue to fire away. It's open season on the Maestro.
He's coming back this week, and if he goes for 360, my bet has a chance.
He just needs to average like 125 yards a game from here on out. He's going to be good to go. Mike, real quick, we're going to end on a couple of questions, including a couple NBA questions. But Mike McClure, I want to ask you, because you had Dart as the first touchdown scorer. What do you feel about this take? Josh Davis says, thoughts on Dart under 5.5 rush attempts at plus 100, coaching staff telling him not to run. My take on this, Mike, is that that's not what happens in the NFL. Once you're healthy, once you're ready to play, they cart you out like you are healthy and ready to play.
Yeah, I actually like the over there. You could tell Jackson Dart whatever you want. Jackson Dart's listening to Jackson Dart when he's on the football field. I thought you were going to ask my favorite cereal because I didn't tell you my favorite cereal, but how about Matthew Golden Grams?
Oh, I love Golden Grams. We're just digging the hole deeper, but that's a great answer. Golden Grams is on the bracket, and it's like an 8 or 9 seed. I think it's drastically underrated. Mike, thanks for perpetuating the joke. Very much appreciated. Mikey B, what do you think about Devin Booker under 26.5 points at minus 105? Jay Real says he hasn't been hitting this points line as of late.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks has been looking for his own. Grayson Allen is also back. He's an important secondary scoring option for the Suns there. I would lean under, not exactly an up-tempo game between the Suns and the Lakers.
Taj 357, PropStarz, Jalen Suggs over 16.5 total points, minus 120.
I love Jalen Suggs. I think he's a phenomenally underrated basketball player, great two-way player, just contributes a lot to the Magic's success here. But scoring a little bit dicey here. I think the numbers are big. I looked at his PRA line as well. I did think his numbers were big.
Steven Cuccarelli loves Golden Grams. A lot of Lucky Charms fans in the house. That certainly makes a lot of sense. All right. I think we're good to go. We answered a lot of the questions, gave out a lot of info, NBA and NFL related. Of course, we have the NHL pick as well. Sox Nation says, great show, gentlemen. Sox Nation from Chicago, of course. Let's take a look at the recap screen. We need a bounce back, and hopefully we get it here. Tyrone Tracy over 12.5 rush attempts, minus 122. Giants plus 7.5, minus 115. That one from Larry. Of course, that first one from me. Mike McClure, Giants first half team total over 9.5 at minus 112. And then we go to the basketball, the NBA, Kobe White under 26.5 points and assists, minus 118 from Proppy. Mikey B, Evan Mobley over 9.5 rebounds at minus 137. And Zubats over 11.5 rebounds, minus 125. A couple of SportsLine picks, including a plus 140 winner. Hopefully, San Jose Sharks money line from Bruce Marshall and Theo Johnson. This is from Danny Brasco, over 30.5 receiving yards, minus 115. Let's take a look at the first touchdown scorers. Matt Collins, Theo Johnson, Jackson Dart, Isaiah Hodgins, and Trevion Henderson. Some people in the chat talking about CBS. I do want to mention on CBS Sports Network, we've got it's really kind of an expanded version of this to some degree, where we really get into a lot more props and a lot more sides and totals talk. That's at 12 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. Larry, Mike, you're going to be on that show, correct? Proppy, you're not on that show, are you?
I am not on that
I
show.
should know this by now, but
I will be there in spirit.
We got Mike McClure and Larry on that 12 o'clock CBS Sports Network, among others, including some early calls on some FCS Group of 5 games from Tom Casale and Emory Hunt, of course. Mikey B, thank you. Proppy, thank you. Mike McClure, Larry, of course, Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. I mean, Ben's got to be so giddy about the Chicago Bears. He's going to have to come on, Ben, maybe tomorrow, maybe not right now, maybe tomorrow, the next day, talk about the Chicago Bears, where you think they stand in this NFC race, because there's a lot of talk on both sides of the aisle there. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for participating in the chat, and thanks for your questions. We'll see you next time on The Early Edge. We rest our case.